I think you need to increase the volume of your computer.
Increase the volume. Yes, I try to do it. It's a maximum. Let me change to another computer. Let's try.
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
Okay.
In the meanwhile, can we go a step ahead and we'll get back to you? Is that okay? Anwar sir? Anwar sir, unmute please.
Okay.
By the time Vanida works out her issue, can we have the next speaker? Anwar sir?
Yes, we can have the next speaker, no problem.
All right. Our next speaker is our very own trustee of Anjuman Khairul Islam Trust, Mumbai. He's Dr. Hanif Lakrawala. He's a versatile personality with vibrancy in his thoughts and his actions. He's an acclaimed international trainer and motivational speaker, loved by the students and the corporates alike. He's a classic blend of rich experience of academia and industry. He will be delving into the topic, revisiting bottom of the pyramid with compassionate strategies by the corporates and institutions. I request our Dr. Hanif Lakrawala sir to kindly address.
I'll just share the screen. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Very clear, sir.
Okay. I'll just share the topic on the screen. One minute. Revisiting the bottom of the pyramid with compassionate strategies by the corporate and institution. The first issue which I would like to deal is, in India, we are receiving the report continuously every day. See, in a city like Mumbai, which is the global financial capital, or should I say the national financial capital, even in our city, every day, there are thousands of people who are suffering from starvation. This is a major issue. And I don't know the solution for that. NGO, I've been continuously in touch with the NGOs, institutions, government agencies on a daily basis. They have their own limitation. I don't know how to solve this and how this issue will be resolved, because the various research have said that this pandemic will last at least minimum 12 to 18 months. We will be practicing social distancing, and what will happen to the unorganized sector? Let's see the report of various agencies which have already established the credential. First is World Bank has warned that it could push between 40 and 60 million people into extreme poverty. See, the word here is not poverty, extreme poverty this year. With sub-Saharan Africa hit hardest, followed by our region, that is South Asia. If you look at the ILO, International Labour Organization, expect the equivalent of 195 million job loss in 2020 itself. Forget about 2021. We are looking at by the end of 2020, 195 million people are going to lose their job. The World Food Program. Hello.
Sir, there is an echo in the sound, sir.
Just 1 minute. Okay, now the echo will not be there.
Yes, much clearer. So thank you so much, sir. Sorry for interrupting. Yes, sir. Thank you.
The World Food Program projects that 135 million people are facing crisis level of hunger or worse, while another 130 million are on the edge of starvation. These are not my figures. These are the figures of well-established international agencies who have proven time and again that that data is correct. Now, UN Global Framework provides strategy. We also need strategy. If you look at the UN Global Framework, they have what strategy they have provided. Let's look at their strategy. It's a 5-point strategies. Number one, protecting health services and system. I am residing in one of the most vulnerable areas of Mumbai, known as Bombay Central. Adjacent to our road is one of the five-star hospital, Wokhar. For last 15 days, it was still. Majority of the healthcare professionals were positive. Most of the five-star healthcare services in a city like Mumbai, it has already collapsed. How to protect them? It's a very, very, very big question. We are staring at a very big crisis. Social protection and basic services. How to protect our own people? How to provide them with the basic service? I'm living in a well-to-do neighborhood. When I was moving out to distribute breakfast every morning, the first feedback which I used to get, okay, food we are getting, what about the water? For the first time, I realized that the people in a city like Mumbai, they do not have a clean drinking water, basic service. People are struggling. People are dying because they do not have water to drink. Third is protecting job in small and medium-sized enterprise and the most vulnerable productive actors. These are the stark realities which we are looking at. Macroeconomic response and multilateral collaboration, and of course, social cohesion and community resilience. These are the 5 points given by the UN which we have to work. The government, the NGOs, educational institute, they have to come forward and look at this crisis. Now, since I belong to the education sector, I will also throw light on the education. Look at UNESCO. What UNESCO is saying. UNESCO estimates that a close to 900 million learners have been affected by the closure of educational institutions. It's a huge numbers. And education is the key. And if something happened to this sector, then I don't know what to say. My major worry as a trustee also, and as an educationist also, and as a person associated with lots of NGOs, my major worry, I'm today worried about the dropout rate. Continuously, I'm getting phone calls from my students. They're saying, sir, how to pay the fees? Dropout rate will increase due to economic reason as many students may not be able to pay the fees. Who is going to take care of them? If they drop out, what about their future? Second, low-income students may not be able to adopt to online teaching method. It's so easy for us to say, okay, let's adapt. I'm also saying to my students, let's adapt. Most of our school students, Anjuman Khairul Islam students, when we are asking them to adapt, they are saying we do not have, forget about smartphone, forget about internet, they do not have a phone. And they are not one, they are in lakhs. What will happen to them? For people like us, it's so easy. You and I have already adapted to online teaching. But our target audience, they are the most vulnerable section of the society. They do not have access to the phone also. Forget about the smartphone and internet. What will happen to them? These are the questions which we are dealing with it. A large number of poor students practice earn and learn. Anjuman Khairul Islam, our trust is catering to a vast number of people who are earning and then paying their fees. Their earning has totally stopped. Who's going to take care of them? These are the questions our trust and the others are dealing. Point number 4, which is major concern of mine. Another major concern is employment. Our final year graduation student and postgraduate students, they are calling me time and again. They're saying, sir, what about our future? Now, this pandemic is going to, how long is going to last? We do not know. And whether we will be getting any kind of placement. Forget about the distant placement. They're worried about any kind of placement. And the last point I would like to make and end my talk is, those who are present here and those who are listening to me, may I request them, make a very humble request. See, whatever big institutions are doing, let them do. Whatever governments are doing, let them do. But we at the local level, can we create ready to act structure so that whoever is in our vicinity, whoever needs our support, immediate support, we are already in the crisis. Who needs our support, we can provide that. So with this, I end my deliberation. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity and patient hearing. Thank you. I'm through. Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm
Thank you
through.
so much for
Yeah.
that wonderful insight. And are there any questions? The chat bot has been activated. If there are any questions, we can quickly, we'll take a very few, maybe a couple of questions, and we'll move ahead. So you put
I
light
hope
on a
I've
very
not crossed
serious issue.
my time limit of 10 minutes.
No, sir, absolutely. You're very much well in time, sir. Thank you so much. Solution to low-income students. So a question, what is the possible solution to low-income students?
Yeah, I'm working on that. Today, I was having a Zoom session with my students. What I have done, I will just share with you what I am doing. I have given my email ID and I have given my phone number to most of my students and said, let's come on online. Those who have of course smartphone and connection, at least I've started with them. Let's discuss. We do not have a magic wand. I cannot give an instant solution, but we can make a step. We can discuss with them, and I am asking all my students, think what you can do to sustain yourself. I have promised them whatever expertise I am having, I'm going to go out of way to help you. My trust is going to go out of way to help you. So currently I'm discussing with them. If they come up with any idea, I will use my personal expertise, personal resources, and help them in surviving, and at least help them in earning the basic fee so that they do not drop out. This is what I am doing. Blanket generic solution I do not have. We need to rethink.
Sir, Rebecca Webb has got a question.
Yeah.
What is the access to computers for low-income students in India?
Currently, access is zero, I would say. I will just share one instance. Yesterday, I was interacting with one of the principal of a secondary school. I just asked her a simple question: how many students are attending your online session? She said, out of the class of 55 to 60, 3 to 4 students are able to attend. Then I asked the next question: why the attendance so low? Initially, the response was, out of the class of 50 to 60, 30, I would say 15, 16 students were attending. Why this 10, 12 students have dropped out? They said they had borrowed the mobile from their neighbors. And neighbors said, we have already exhausted our, should we say, data package. Hence, so I would say it's miserable. There's no access what to get. Forget about computer, they do not have the phone also. And I don't know how to begin and where to begin.
That's going to be an uphill task, sir.
Yeah.
So one more.
Yeah, tell me.
Elaborate role of education institutions in motivating facilities to go for online education. Elaborate the role of
education in motivating facilities to go online. See, I'm requesting all my resources in the corporate world and in the social sector, if they can adopt few educational institutions and help them in building the basic infrastructure. See, we have to pull our resources. We have to target schools and colleges and make them ready for online education. If not today, tomorrow. Otherwise, a large number of students from the deprived section, they will be left behind. And if they are left behind, I'm 100% sure our economy will collapse. Because when I have chosen this topic, bottom of the pyramid, the majority of the human being on this planet Earth is at the bottom of the pyramid. We have to take care of them. And I think those who have the resources, particularly the big institutions and corporates, they have to chip in. And people like us who are very resourceful, we have to utilize our network. And every day I'm using my network and saying to the people, when the lockdown is over, please, please, please sponsor at least one of my school. Give them the basic infrastructure. Let's see the results. We are working on it.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for
My
that
pleasure.
wonderful
Wonderful
question.
session.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure.